Hey guys, I'm Millie and welcome back to my channel. If you've never met me before, then hi, welcome, come on in, make yourself at home. We're going to be doing another Camp America video. Today I am very briefly, and I say very briefly because I don't think I can actually manage to ramble about it that much, and we all know I love to ramble and I'm very good at it. But we're going to be talking about the cost breakdowns for going to camp. I have made a note of every single thing I've spent on camp this year and I'm just going to talk you through it. Please be aware that I am a third year returner to my camp. I went with Camp America during my first year and then chose to go with JCUSA for my second year because I was a direct placement and my camp are working very closely with JCUSA. And it was just easier to do that way, and then I'm going back as a returner with JCUSA. That's just the way it's fallen, so it was going to be slightly different depending on what agency you choose to use, and also if you choose to, you know, pay for flights. I know with Camp America, like, you could do an option where you had flights with them or you didn't. Now I book my own flights and I book everything else all on my own. Okay, I've got my phone here. I'm gonna get my little notes app up. Can't remember what I call it. Why am I typing like a mum? I'm like, camp spendings. First thing I spent was my flight. I bought a return flight. I'm flying out to Newark and I'm also flying out of Newark Airport as well, and that cost me £594.72, and that's with Aer Lingus. I bought that quite early on. I bought that actually in December because I knew I was going back and I knew what day I had to be there, which is probably why it's so cheap. My sister has also just purchased flights. She's also bought a return with the same company, with Aer Lingus, and she's also, I'm not sure she's flying to Newark, but I think she's going to JFK and it's cost her £300 more. But I recommend booking as early as you can with flights or trying to just look for the best deals. So my agency fee was £275 with JCUSA. I'm not actually sure if that's the direct placement fee and if you have to pay more if you are sort of getting placed through them, if that makes sense. So you apply to JCUSA first and then they place you in a camp. But because I was already hired at my camp and like I obviously knew I was employed and had a job, it was just about the agency like backing my visa essentially, so that's what that money was paid for. My visa itself cost me £160.95, so you all have to pay this visa because everybody needs a J1 visa, and you have to pay that before your embassy appointment. I also paid on top of that £21 for it to get shipped to my house. You can pay for, you don't have to pay, you can get it shipped to a warehouse, but it only goes to Manchester or London, I believe, and then you have to go to that warehouse and pick it up. I was just like, it's gonna cost me money to get to the warehouse anyways, I'm just gonna get it shipped, I'm just gonna pay. It's so hassle free. I highly recommend you just pay. It's like 21 quid, like, it adds up, but at the end of the day, you've also got to think about what's going to be easiest for you. Trains to get down to London to go and get my visa cost me £62.64. I literally made note of everything I was having to pay because that is quite a lot. That's like nearly half of what I actually had to pay for my visa anyways. I mean, it's not, but like, I'm going to round it up and that's a money saving tip from me. Getting from Manchester to London is very pricey. Like, if you're already around about London, it's not going to be that much, but for me it was a big purchase. Like, my weekly budget at uni is 100 quid, so for me to spend 63 quid on a train for one day for a visa is crazy, and I was writing that down. Other expenses I've not actually paid for yet, but I know I'm gonna have to include travel insurance. That is for like my items because JCUSA actually provide your health insurance whilst you're at camp. I'm also going to be travelling for a time afterwards though, so it means I'm going to have to pay for an extension for my medical insurance. I believe you can get like a daily rate with JCUSA and then you can just write until and say like when you want to extend it till, and then you pay that amount, but I'm not actually sure how much that's going to cost me, but I'm going to estimate around 200 quid because I'm travelling for quite a while afterwards. I also need to purchase a SIM card. I'm going to go with Mint Mobile because that's who I've used for the last 2 years. I go usually for the highest data package and it's a 3-month thing, so it's going to be around £100, I believe, but it's in US dollars because it's a US brand, so I can't really do the conversion rate. I have also purchased like a load of money on new clothes, can't lie. I have tried to get stuff that I'm going to end up re-wearing when I'm not at camp, just because obviously like I don't want to be paying for things that I'm just only going to wear at camp, otherwise it is a bit of a waste. But yeah, I've been very much enjoying the vintage spends. Usually I would also get some US dollars out in cash before I actually enter the country, so I know that if I lose my card or anything like that, I have some money on me. So usually I get around 400 US dollars. Obviously with the conversion rate that tends to change. However, I had money left over from last year which I chose just to not convert back, and I would just take that cash. Also, because you generally don't get paid until the end of summer, you need to think about having money for your days off. But when I tell you, days off get expensive because you are out of camp, you are off for the day for 1 week, 1 day out of the whole week, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm making the most of this, so it gets expensive. And you don't want money to be kind of a limiting factor on you enjoying yourself and making memories and having experiences. So I would take as much money as you can afford to spend, and then know that you are going to be getting some sort of a wage at the end of summer to kind of fill up what you have spent. You can get actually advances. Some camps I know let you have advances on your paycheck. Like for mine, in the last couple of weeks, I probably email the guy who does like all of the money and handles the money and just say, hey, please can I have an advance of like, I think I asked for $300 at the end of last summer, and I used that on my last 3 days off. So I knew it was coming out of my paycheck rather than my savings, because also with my camp, they give you a preloaded card which is in US dollars, which you can spend in the US but you can't use outside of the US without a huge fee on it. So you have to like convert it over or spend it whilst you're out there. But I am also in a really privileged position where I have a job at uni, and also my student loan covers my living costs, so any money that I make at my job has gone to just paying off my camp expenses, and I'm not actually in any camp like debt, I call it, which is money I've had to take out of my student loan or my savings, but I haven't had to do that at all this year because my job has completely covered my costs, which I'm really grateful for. Obviously I worked for that money, but it is a good position to be in, which I'm aware not everybody can be in. If there is anything I've missed, please comment it down below so that everybody else can see and we can kind of, you know, help each other out. If you would like to see more camp content from me, then subscribe down below. I also do all my uni content because, oh my goodness, I'm going to be a 3rd and final year uni student next year, which is absolutely wild. I cannot believe it's come around so quickly. If you're going to camp this year, comment down below which camp you're going to and what your position is, so I can have a cheeky little nosy, see what everyone's up to. And if you're going to camp this summer, have the best summer ever and enjoy yourselves. You're going to make the most memories and have the best time ever. See you later. Bye.